Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us here one more time. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, from one fantastic conversation to another, that's what we are exactly delivering at the second edition of Infocom Mumbai 2025. Well, that brings me to our next segment, our next session, which is a keynote segment, a keynote session. Well, as we all know that digital networks are the backbone of global business and communications, making cyber resiliency essential for organizations to thrive. And cyber resiliency isn't just a trendy term, but it's about an organization's ability to predict, endure, and recover from and adapt to cyber threats. But of course, who better than the expert himself to join us and share his insights with us on cyber resiliency in the AI era? Well, our stage is all set to invite our speaker. So, ladies and gentlemen, can I have all your attention towards the stage? Because it's time we welcome our speaker who will talk about cyber resiliency in the AI era. With your applauses, let's welcome Mr. Nihar Patare, Managing Director, CEO and CIO at 63 Sats Cybertech. A very warm welcome. Mr. Nihar, over to you.
A very good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Thank you, thank you. I missed the first half of the session. I was in Delhi sharing some very important threat intel to our defense. I was in CERTIN yesterday. After post Operation Sindoor, we have been very hyperactive with a lot of attacks coming in. Thanks a lot, Atanayu, for that closing that we had. And I'm a case study who has moved from a CIO to a MDCO role. And those are the right questions that what you really pointed out. So it's an honor here to be here today to discuss the topic that is not just relevant, but critical to our collective future, cyber resilience in the age of AI. So we stand at this cliff of technology revolution, one driven by the unprecedented capabilities of artificial intelligence that has touched upon us and our lives. AI promises to transform our entire existence that we have, solving complex problems, enhance human potentials in ways that we are just beginning to understand. But with great power come great responsibilities. And in the cybersecurity realm, that responsibility is immense. For years, cybersecurity has been a game of defense, a constant race to patch vulnerabilities and to react to threats. This is a slide that I've put together. These are the areas that you really are implementing today, the products, the solutions, all under certain controls. Even after having those long towers of firewall, those defense structures that we have, we keep asking ourselves, even if we having these tools every year, people are moving ahead. Why this? We having all of us are using the best of technologies available. Still, if you see the ransomware, the cybercrime threats are increasing year on year. Why is it that? What makes us so sure that the next technology that we implement is not again going to be breached by this attack? So now when AI enters this arena, the double-edged sword becomes of immense power. So we have this dilemma. We have a special department. We are an IP company. We do a lot of products based on our AI capabilities to getting those IPs into the products in security for us to deliver. We analyze vast data sets on threat, dark web intelligence. We put two and two together to find best of the companies which can be breached. If a hacker could breach it, we are sure the security is not enough. What we also see is not only in this world is the deepfake gaining interest all around. There have been small crimes in India. Deepfake has been put to rest in the real terms that we have, because whenever an incident happens of security and if it affects a politician or a minister, the law passed in our country is immediate. This is what happened with deepfake as a new entrant came in last year. For that, we are using a technology. If you go visit our website, we have a deepfake voice detector free. We are giving this, you could upload a voice file and immediately it would analyze and tell you if the voice is fake or not. And amazingly, it is very difficult for you to understand voice if it is generated by deepfake. What we also do is we do voice to face profiling. Now this solutions and technologies are based on AI, and this the way it works, it's patented technology in which we determine that the facial structure and BMI of a person decides how the voice output is. So if a voice is analyzed in the true sense with algorithms, it draws a caricature of a person next to it. And with that, a real face can be profiled. So this technology we are now getting into the law enforcement agencies. We had quite some discussions with ATS. So if you walk into a police station, as an example, and try and give a voice recording about a threat to someone, the cop would then use this voice recording into our servers and then take out from his 50,000 profile photos and give you the top 5 photographs where the voice matches. And this is the caricature that it draws. Till now, we say photographs and fingerprints are stored by law enforcement agencies. Going in future, voice would also be stored. I'll give you a small video on how it works real time. This was just with voice, but with deepfake video coming in, and now deepfake AI generated videos are doing changes on the fly. They slightly change face so that you feel that this is the same person with a blur output, but our systems are able to immediately recognize this only because it matches the voice with the facial features.
Yes, so swap face technology, it's a new version of deepfake. Basically, fraudsters use swap face technology to inject a different face into meetings. It could be a familiar face from within an organization, but the whole idea is to pretend to be someone else in a meeting. It could be for Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, etc. And the whole idea is that fraudsters use different faces to pretend to be someone else. It could be also applied in a recruitment, a new employee for the organization who try to steal information, sensitive information about the company. Our technology, the voice-to-face matching technology, can match between a voice and a face and tell in real time whether it's a real person or whether it's like a fraud who's trying to get this sensitive information and to trick the people within the organization.
So this is how it catches real time. We are getting it for our softwares that we are going to use. Into the next thing that we did some research is about DeepSeek. DeepSeek, once it was launched, we saw a lot of traffic moving towards it. We studied the Red Team reports which happened on DeepSeek. And the most important part of DeepSeek that everyone should know is about the CBRN test. This is the chemical, biology, and cybersecurity test which happens. And you will see the different models. You have ChatGPT, Claude, and DeepSeek, Reasoner. You see the risk percentage on the left and the different tests that you have on the right. What we could figure out is it was very easy to convince DeepSeek to tell you how to make a chemical bomb or to make a biological weapon. We also could determine, you could coax DeepSeek into taking the trust by asking him smaller questions, and in the end start role play and getting the right information out. So we feel that all AI modules that you should use should be customized only to your industry and not use generic AI which is found on the internet. This is a slide, common slide that I show how to confuse machine learning, and this slide talks about it is still difficult. It's not the end of the world. You can still confuse machine learning from muffins and dogs. The next big thing is the Q day, right? And it is near. Q day is the day when quantum actually breaks encryption for you. Yeah, out of those million years of encryption that you have, which could be broken down into a few minutes. So what we say is AI is not changing the rules of competition, but quantum computing may rewrite them altogether. There are only 4 companies in this on this world. One of them is from India, who actually stop quantum encryption to be broken. So what we say is 2% of our companies by 2025 will start investing on AI ML and security of AI ML, which is a base requirement that all of us should have. Everyone should shift from generic large AI models to customized smaller industry specific models. And with quantum computing coming to disrupt encryption and cybersecurity, it's a wait and watch game. Things are getting faster. Microsoft's latest chip, it makes it quite affordable for quantum to have this breakthrough. By 2026, one of the 3 firms will train AI models on the industry specific data. And in India, we would be leading in the next 2 years on AI for security. So what's the securing the future with AI and cyber resilience looks like? Passkeys, which are your digital encryption auth keys, are the only way forward if you really want to have pure security against all types of cyber attacks. AI supply chains are at risk, and we are saying that third party models usually create a lot of vulnerabilities. You should be cautious about that. Continuous monitoring and securing AI development are critical for business resilience. We say that AI has brought us into a term of a clean chaos. Yeah, it's a clean chaos. No more you have disruption with injection of poisoning of AI that you are using. What is happening is the threat people do not want, or the hackers do not want to disrupt your business model. They just want to learn from it and use it and sell that information. We saw a couple of cases where Atmanirbhar Bharat, where it has backfired, in which the defense mechanism that is happening, the outsourcing or privatization of defense, most of these plans are still, when they are shared in the private sector, the same security levels are not maintained. So it is very important that security has to be the base layer when you develop or do anything. We say that if your company wants to be a $1 billion company, it should be ready for billions of attacks first. Then only you could move towards that. The key takeaways in short is everything's changing at breakneck speed, and we need to cope up with that, have the right partners do that. Organizations that will fail to secure AI, example that I will tell you, there's a lot of pressure from the boards for developing or deploying of AI, and this has led to many companies doing it just for speed. One of the biggest example is Chevrolet in San Francisco launched a chatbot for their car dealerships. You could ask any questions. The hackers got to know about it. They poisoned the AI, and they made two statements with poisoning. One is whatever statement comes out of this chatbot is legally binding, and the customer should not go without a car at whatever price it is. Then the hackers came in. They asked for one of their budget is $1, and they would like to buy a car. It said yes, buy this model at $1. At the same time, it says this is a legally binding statement. It would not be retracted. So they had to give this car. Same happened with ANI and ChatGPT. There's a 1 crore litigation which has been filed this year because ChatGPT created a fictional video of a politician interview because the questions asked were so that it actually generated that video and published it. You also? Oh, great. So AI is no longer just a tool, it's an evolving force, it should be controlled. Good thought process, people are learning like all new technologies in disruption. And this was the end of my presentation, but my team told me that there were a presentation in the morning where they showed you a QR code. And I was on flight, they told me that, and I said, let me add 2 more slides, which is not on the resilience of cybersecurity. This is something that we are launching next month, a cybersecurity app for the common citizens of the country. Yeah, this is called CYBX. This is Mobile Security Ka X Factor. And this is exactly one of the threats, of the 103 threats that we are going to stop. One was the QR code. If the app was installed, today the demo would have failed. Yeah, and I do not want anyone recording. This is only for this session. I am showing you a sneak preview of the app. This will sanitize your phones. It is an app so deep dive that it would also, at the highest level, stop a Pegasus level attack. Yeah? CYBX. No data. No data. So this app not only protects your phone from all the different threats, rogue Wi-Fi's, man-in-the-middle attack, QR codes, phishing links, spam links across iPhone. The moment it had detected a QR code and before it ran the program for it to click the photo, it would have blocked it saying that this is not a valid code for you to execute. It's a runtime that needs to be executed. It will give you indication that this is not a app, a link that you should. Yeah. The same app in enterprise, when we deploy, the administrators could have a action on it, saying it would directly block. But on the public sector, it gives you a notification, does not block. You don't want en masse blocking of certain things. It also has a encrypted voice dialer. You could have encrypted conversations, and with privacy coming in, we do not give any recording rights to the local OS at all. At the same time, for enhanced privacy, because most of the Androids, you could record all types of calls. Now, iPhone also comes with a recording. So what we did is, we don't give recording, but you would say, I would start the speaker and record. So if you enable the speaker, it would still prompt the other person that the speaker has been enabled. If you put it on a car Bluetooth, it will tell you it's a car Bluetooth or Apple AirPod. And you could say, I'm not comfortable or not. It tells you about network usage per app, top 10, like your network stats that we used to do in Windows. It tells you memory consumption by the top 10 apps that's currently happening live. One click and you could see memory and network. At the same time, the icing on the cake that we have on this is we are also launching it with cyber insurance from 10,000 rupees to 10 lakhs. As per the subscription, your entire cyber journey would be secure. It could be online shopping, anything happening on your phone or your digital connect, not only on the phone, across your devices. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Nihar. That was a very pivotal presentation. Do we have any questions? Any thoughts that anyone would like to share? Anyone from the audience? All right. So I think with that, we draw close to this presentation. So I would request you to please take the center stage. And may I please invite Mr. Kali Mahapatra, Head at Infocom, to join us and felicitate Mr. Nihar Pathare with a memento token of appreciation. Let's give a huge round of applause one more time. Indeed, a fantastic presentation right there when it comes to cyber resiliency in the AI era. Thank you for joining us here. And with